and it will bring some positivity to that city. Again with 9/11, that would have been absolutely fantastic to see a World Series parade in New York for the Yankees. After that had happened, and unfortunately we didn't get to see that because the Diamondbacks won the World Series. But it would have been nice to see that happen in any kind of city that you have something like that happen, like with the Saints, with Katrina and them coming back, and playing in the Superdome and all that stuff. So I mean, it's interesting to see when stuff happens that we all rally together, even if we don't cheer for that team, we rally behind them to say, okay, we're here, we're cheering for you, we love you, let's do this, let's do it for them, let's let them do it, let them win it, for the city.
Sometimes you just gotta put those things aside, like the rivalry, even though you can't stand.
Right.
Sometimes in cases like you do have to put it aside. I always think,
right.
What are you, crazy? No, I don't think it's crazy at all.
Yes. No, it's not crazy at all. It's not crazy at all.
It's like, Louie, have you gone over to the enemy side now? No, I haven't. But when we've experienced something like this, because we're not thinking, rivalries as New York and Boston or New York. We're thinking as Americans.
Correct. Yes, absolutely. Correct.
Put the pride aside, as I've said. Put the pride aside.
Correct. All right, my man. Yeah. Lewis, I'll have to let you go. I have another call hanging on the line. I got to get him on.
Ooh.
Yep.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Thank you, sir. Eric, what's going on, buddy? Sorry I had you on hold so long. Eric, are you there? Eric, are you there? Eric, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I am. Sorry, man. I had you on hold so long. I apologize.
Oh, it's all good, man. What's going on?
Not too much, man. How are you?
Oh, man, just living life, brother, best I can.
Cool. Good to hear from you.
How's the show been going, man? Everything been good?
Pretty good, man. I found out yesterday that I have 2,000 people listening to me every show, so I'm pretty happy about that. It's way more than I thought was, so got to keep building it. Keep moving forward. Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, keep moving forward. So I got to ask you, man, were you on the edge of your seat on Saturday night?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I wasn't too bad, man. Miami looked better than I honestly expected, even though as crazy as that sounds, but I honestly I thought it'd be a close game, but I didn't really know what to expect from the offense. I knew defense would still kind of be round about the same, even though they looked a little different. It didn't look like Manny Diaz defense. It actually looked like Coach Baker's defense. But offense looked a lot better than I expected, especially having a freshman quarterback in with two freshman offensive tackles and a brand new offensive coordinator. So I really wasn't too bad. There's still 11 more games on the schedule, so Miami can always turn the season around.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, man, up on the other side, I really honestly believe that had they not given up the sacks and the penalties, they would have won that football game. Because I think they were the better team, in my opinion. I mean, they played well defensively. They kept Florida on the ropes. They had the turnovers, which, again, they've led the nation. You guys have led the nation the last 2 years in turnovers. So, I mean, there was no surprise there. But had they not missed that field goal, and then the penalties and the sacks are what killed them. Had they been able to avoid all that, they would have won that football game. We would have been talking about something completely different. The Gators probably be out of the top 25 had that happen.
Yeah. I mean, I can somewhat agree to it. I mean, I think, football games are won as a whole.
True.
I think I really believe that Coach Grantham outcoached Coach Enos, and then, offense. Florida's offense versus Miami defense, I would honestly probably say is a little even, just because the Miami defense had their wins, even though they gave up some chunk plays. So, it literally was a defensive game, and I think if you take the unbiased out of fans, everybody would tell you that's probably what they expect in any rivalry in the state of Florida. I mean, I've been watching football 29 years, and I don't think I've ever seen a completely offensive one game in any rivalry in the state of Florida. I mean, the state of Florida is just known more for defense anyways. Just like the SEC, even with Florida's blowout win last year, Florida State, the offense did put up 41 points, but the defense is what shut them down 14 points, so it wasn't just a completely offensive show.
Right.
So, I mean, it was up and up, but, I don't believe in the moral victory. So, I'm not going to walk out and say, I was happy with what I saw Saturday, because I wasn't. There's a lot of things that can be fixed, not just as the football team. The offensive tackles making stupid false start penalties, the true freshman left tackle Zion, just not getting off the ball fast enough. Or there you got Jaren taking a sack when he could have threw the ball away. I mean, there's just simple little mistakes, but you can also blame the coaching staff for not making the right adjustments, getting help where it should have. I mean, it's a team loss, man. I mean, I think the future might be bright, but I still think Miami's a long way from being, as everybody likes to say, back. There's just not championship ball played on Saturday from either team.
I agree. I don't
really want to say, I've seen people bash Felipe Franks all week, saying the man's regressed. And, I mean, it's hard to say, man. It's game one. It wasn't just Florida played, Temple or, Coastal Carolina for the first game. They played actual in-state rivalry. So, there was mistakes expected, especially mentally. I've even seen grown analysts and fans, and I've seen a lot of people saying the freshman outplayed the junior quarterback. It's hard to say, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Jaren Williams played great because he didn't turn the ball over. But if you go back, I've rewatched that game 3 times. If you go back and watch the film, there's a lot of reads that he missed. The first touchdown to Brevin Jordan, he could have went anywhere in the field. He had 4 wide receivers open, but he made the smart move and dumped it to Brevin Jordan and got a touchdown, easy touchdown at that. But then you look at the first drive and you see Jeff Thomas open twice. Wide open in the end zone. All he had to do was make the throw. But he didn't. He ended up with his check down, just not going through his progression. So, I mean, there's good things and there's bad things, and if you look at I think it was like 60-yard bomb to Hammond for Felipe, that was a beautiful throw, beautiful play call. He got the safety to bite, cool, but then you look at that first down, right after Miami turned over the ball and down, Felipe Fakes throws it short, and the striker undercuts it, interception. So I mean, you can go back and forth, man. On I've seen this good and I've seen this good, and it's game one. Miami goes into week 2 against North Carolina, so they don't get another warm up game as you would used to see. Florida goes in to play University of Tennessee Martin. They kind of get a warm-up game. You'll probably see a lot of backups. Felipe Franks may not even play the second half. So unfortunately for him, he's not going against a team that he'll be able to look sharp, and say, oh, I did this against Vanderbilt or, Tennessee or whatever, so it's not a game you won't want to brag on afterwards. But, like Miami goes into face North Carolina at a night game up in Chapel Hill. So, that's going to be, and it's another division rivalry. So that's going to be a game where, you come out of next Saturday saying, oh, well, Jaron Williams looked like this, or, he could have did this better. Now you're going to see for Miami where you're able to, kind of see where the schedule is going to go or where the rest of the season is going to go, because if you rewatch film, there's a lot of positives. You got DJ Dallas, a junior running back who looked great, but then you have uncertainty behind him in Cam that, he had a long break but had a long run called back. And you got Lorenzo Lingard, who probably should be getting at least some playing time next week, but he hasn't played since last year against Savannah State. So there's a lot of uncertainty in the backfield behind DJ Dallas. And you got your wide receivers. There's just a lot of question marks that, as a Miami fan and, as somebody that's watching them to see how they do, you're going to be able to be like, okay, well, this is game 2 now. Let's see where we go from here. Is Tate Martell going to be playing more wide receiver snaps than so-called, Mark Pope or, Wiggins or Jeremiah Payton or, so on and so on. There's a lot of questions that Miami fans they want answers. And, one thing I do like and respect about Manny Diaz is he don't really release too much. He'll let you know just what you need to know. So, it's going to be an interesting week 2 game, needless to say. So, and if Miami goes and barely beats North Carolina, who's breaking in a true freshman quarterback this week, a returning coach that's been out of the game in Mac Brown, what does that really say about the program of Miami yet? Are we there yet to go to the next hump, or is it like, whatever, So I think next week will kind of be the telltale sign of how the season goes, even though it's still early. Miami comes in to struggle, you're looking at like, why are we struggling against North Carolina? This should be a game. We should be up 40 points right now, and I'm not disrespecting North Carolina at all, but the athletes just don't compare. That's like saying Florida should be in a dog fight with Vanderbilt. It just shouldn't happen. The athletes aren't there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, we'll see. I'll be kind of disappointed if it's a close game. I about 20 or more points I'll be okay with, but anything less than that, man, I think is kind of a disappointment.
So, but how do you see the rest of their season going? I mean, let's say that they beat North Carolina this weekend or next weekend coming up. Do you see them winning more than they won last year? They won 7 games a year ago. I mean, they got manhandled by the team that will be playing my USF Bulls tomorrow in the bowl game. How many games do you see them winning this year? Do you see them winning more than 7? Or is it going to kind of be the same as they did last year?
No, I've actually talked to the team when I was down there right before the season started, and just talking to the players and hearing them even say it out their own mouth, man, that if you take Mark Rich out of the head coaching job and you insert Coach Diaz, still have that same staff, but just insert Coach Diaz as your head coach, like you even hear the players will tell you themselves, some of those games they lost last year, they won't lose just with him at head coach, just because of the type of person he is, which is a lot of that was mentality, and, if you're a football fan and you follow it real deep, you'll understand that a lot of teams take on the mentality and everything that their coach brings. And if you look at Coach Rick last year, he was real relaxed, real, calm, which that kind of seemed what the team was. Oh, it's just Virginia. Oh, well, we lost